by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They got him again!
Sixers.
Bang! It's good! Ball game!
And Flyers.
Tipped in front of the net!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD. Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hennick.
It's good!
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
And he scored!
Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio. Here's Josh Hennick.
Josh Hennick here on a Tuesday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN as the Phillies get an impressive win over the New York Mets this afternoon, basically 18 hours after a huge win the night before. So we'll get to that this hour. Plus, the NBA playoffs are continuing. I'll give you my thoughts on the playoffs as well as the NFL schedule is coming out tomorrow night. And I got a couple of side thoughts about that coming up here. As always, you guys can join the conversation at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. But we got to get to the Phillies for anything else. And you guys can join the conversation as well. The Phillies just won 2 games that there could have been 100 excuses for them not to win in basically in less than last 24 hours. Okay. The game last night looked like for a chunk of the game they were going to lose. And then when Edwin Diaz comes in with the trumpets and all the fanfare, let's be realistic. A lot of people thought that game was over. And then Bryson Stott happened. He helped get them to the position where they could tie the game with his home run. Of course, they scored one more time against Diaz, got it to extra innings. Stott got the fly ball that drove in the run. Stott's couple RBIs continued today when he walked 3 times, had an RBI today as well. Stott is playing phenomenally well. And it goes to show you that a game in a sport like baseball, it's not won by the stars. It's the whole team, as Jason Kelsey would say. I cannot let go of the fact that this team is going out there and winning without their best players doing what they do. I mean, Bryce Harper was literally a scratch 10 minutes for game time due to a migraine headache, which it's got to be. I don't know if anyone else brought this up. You know, obviously I can't watch and listen to every show and every, content out there, but I got to believe that him having that migraine has something to do with the fact that he got hit in the head last night when the catcher tried to throw the ball back to the pitcher and it hit him in the helmet. I'm assuming he's got something to do with that. So that's totally understandable. But even Harper, he's not in the lineup today. Realmuto's not in the lineup today. Schwarber's back in the lineup. He didn't really give you a lot, right? But today, it was Stott and the other guys who stepped up. And for a guy who doesn't play third base, almost for most of his career, Whit Merrifield had 2 phenomenal fielding plays behind Aaron Nola. Big reason why Aaron Nola got the shutout victory today was because of their defense. Remember a few years ago when the defense was like the biggest complaint that people had about this team, right? It was their defense is so bad, and the Phillies brass told us we're going to out-hit our defense. Well, that strategy didn't work, and they started to slowly change over the roster to become a more defensive-oriented team. Remember, it was a couple of years ago when they acquired Brandon Marsh from the Angels and Edmundo Sosa from the Cardinals. And then last year, they brought up Johan Rojas, and then they signed Trey Turner. The Trey Turner defensive experiment has not gone so well, but they added Christian Pache last year. They have been slowly overhauling this team to be a more responsible and competent and reliable defensive unit. Even Bryce Harper at first base has shown that he is a very good defensive player. So you're talking about a team that went from defense being a liability to now being something that you can rely on. It was a big reason why Aaron Nola got the shutout victory today. And Aaron Nola, he's quietly having a good year. Not a great year, but a good year. And the reason why I bring up the fact that you're not getting the production you need from your star players like your Harpers and your Schwarbers and your Realmuto and Trey Turner's on the injured list, this pitching staff has been above and beyond, I think, what anyone ever expected. I think that we all expected that this offense was going to be the weapon, the head of the spear, the whatever term you want to use. They were going to be in the forefront of this team winning games. And it's been the pitching staff instead. Ranger Suarez, Zach Wheeler, 2 Cy Young candidates right now. Aaron Nola having a much better year this year than last year. And I got to believe that he is much more acclimated to the pitch clock now than he was last year, because, there was an article in The Athletic by Matt Gelb, who joined us a couple times throughout last year and this year here on Game Night. Josh, I think hanging out with you on a Tuesday night. He told us about how Aaron Nola, JT Realmuto, these guys struggled with the pitch clock. Whereas someone like Ranger Suarez, Zach Wheeler, they were a little more adapted for it. They were a little more acclimated to the idea of just keep it moving, keep the game going, right? Nola had to adjust, and obviously he has finally adjusted. Now, the strikeout to inning numbers are not as high as they used to be for Nola. I don't know if that's an age thing. I don't know if that's a byproduct of the pitch clock, right? You look at his numbers last year, he was barely over the strikeouts to innings pitched, whereas in the years before the pitch clock, his strikeouts to innings pitched were really good, right? You're talking about a guy who in 2022, Aaron Nola had 235 strikeouts in 205 innings. This year, even though he's pitching better than he was last year, and he's almost on pace with ERA and batting average against as he was back in 2002, he only has 47 strikeouts in 49 innings. So I don't know how much the pitching clock has impacted that, but what I do know is Nola getting back on track is a huge part of this team moving forward, because if this pitching staff can continue to give you, if you take Suarez, Wheeler, Nola, and whoever the 4 and 5 guy is combined, you put all 5 of those guys together, you're talking about a pitching staff that is going to be far and away better than anyone else in the National League. Far and away. Because one of the things that we can talk about here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank Seattle, wherever you listen to the show, thank you for tuning in. Josh Hunting hanging out with you on a Tuesday night. One of the factors that we have to touch on is the fact that, we touched on with Keith Law last week. We talked about, hey, there's not a team that's got a great pitching staff. There might be a team whose pitching staff could make things difficult for Philadelphia, right? But as of right now, the 2 best teams in most people's eyes out there, the 2 most bet on World Series contenders, the Braves and the Dodgers, their pitching staffs not on Philadelphia's level. Just not. And it's not that the Dodgers are a bad team. It's not that the Braves are a bad team. Dodgers got 28 wins. They're a really good baseball team. But when you look at their pitching staff, you realize that outside of Tyler Glasnow, there's some flaws in that pitching staff. Yamamoto has been good, not great. And frankly, it was unfair for anyone to expect him to be this like elite pitcher year one. He's still learning the game, right? James Paxton is a fascinating example of a guy who it took a couple of years for him to bounce back from injuries. Walker Buehler, not the same pitcher he was before the injury. Bobby Miller, he's on the injured list, right? He's supposed to be young superstar of the future. And then you have Gavin Stone, who good pitcher, not great. So when you look at the Dodgers, you're not looking at a team that you're like, let me tell you about the Dodgers, man. Their pitching staff, I'm scared of them. Like I told you guys last week, and I'll say it again. The only guy that concerns me is Paxton, because Paxton is a lefty. And he finally looks like the James Paxton from before the injury, right? He finally looks like the guy who was that lefty in Seattle that eventually ended up with the Yankees. But then the injuries in New York and the injuries in Seattle, they piled up. He missed all of 2022, and it took him an entire year last year to work through everything. He's 35 years old now. If the Paxton now that we're seeing can maintain this form, I'm not saying he's going to be 28-year-old Paxton, but if he's 30-year-old Paxton, he's 29-year-old Paxton, right? You know, the guy who had complete game shutouts himself back in 2018. If that version of Paxton shows up in the postseason, Philadelphia will have trouble winning those games. Obviously, the issue with Tyler Glasnow every year is health. Can he maintain the pitching rigors of a long baseball season? Glasnow is a guy who has never started more than 21 games in the season, and that was last year. Before that, injuries had chopped him down year in and year out. 14 games in 2021, 12 games in 2019. Not because he's a bad pitcher, injuries. So Glasnow is a guy we got to keep an eye on, right? But the Dodgers, I'm not scared of their rotation. The Braves, Spencer Strider is done for the year. He ain't walking through that door. He's not coming to save you. And I've heard multiple people bring up the Max Fried. He's solid. He's not elite. And I don't know how much of that is because he's coming off of injury. I don't know how much of that is because is his arm wearing down. I don't know how much of it is he just not built to be a consistent enough pitcher at a high level. You know, the 2 years that he had at least 30 starts are very different seasons statistically. And because he's not a big swing and miss guy, because he's not a guy that gets tons of strikeouts, he is more of a contact pitcher. You have to wonder how that will play out long term. Charlie Morton's 40 years old. How long is he going to keep this up? Chris Sale, he is a guy like James Paxton who's finally found himself after coming back from injuries. Is this version of Chris Sale going to last the entire year? And let's be realistic. Reynaldo Lopez doesn't scare anybody. A guy like Reynaldo Lopez, who played for 3 teams last year, you go through his history, he's a solid to good pitcher, not a great pitcher. So the fact that right here, right now, he has a 1.34 ERA, I don't know how long he's going to maintain that. And Bryce Elder, he's not having a great year. So if you're Atlanta, if you're the Dodgers, you have to realize that if your hitters don't show up in a playoff series with the Phillies, you are going to get outworked, outpitched, outdone, out everything. because the one thing the Phillies have going for them is their pitching. Over on the text board, 609-403-0973. Also, you can DM the show to 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See how Tom from Margate chimes in. We'll hit Tom before the breaks. Hey, Josh. If you're going to be a Phillies sports fan, you got to love the merry-go-round, the roller coaster. This Philly team is going to take us on a fun ride this year, maybe even an epic ride into Red October. That's from Tom in Margate. Salute to you as well, Tom in Margate. Tom, I think with the Phillies, the reason why some people don't like the roller coaster ride or the merry-go-round or whatever term you want to use is because there's always been this feeling of, I don't want to call it jealousy, I don't want to call it envy, but there's a little bit of why can't we have that vibes when it comes to Philly sports fans. It's the idea that if you are a Philly sports fan, like if you're the Phillies, right, you look at the Atlanta Braves from the 90s with just total scorn, right? If you're an Eagles fan, the 90s Cowboys will always be a dark cloud over your memories of your football life. If you are a Flyers fan, you look at the Devils and the Penguins, see all the cups that those teams have won, and you got none. And if you're a Sixer fan, you look at the Celtics and you frown at them. And you look at other teams in the Eastern Conference. You know, since, and if you take out Jordan's Bulls, right, take out that whole era, right? Since the Sixers won a championship in '83, the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavs and the Milwaukee Bucks and the Detroit Pistons and the Miami Heat have all won championships. And since 1983, so it's 5 teams that won championships in the Eastern Conference. The Nets have been to more NBA finals than you. The Knicks have been to the same number of NBA finals as the Sixers have. And let's be realistic. You are still sore that Toronto beat you in the playoff series. So, you know, it's the idea, Tom and Margate, that while I understand what you're saying, you know, it's part of being a sports fan, there's always going to be that side of Philly sports fans, whether you are, you know, that fan in South Philadelphia, or you're the guy at the Jersey Shore, wherever you are a Philly sports fan, the reality is that you look at other teams and you say, I wish I had more of those moments, eras to lean back on. Because if you're a Phillies fan, outside of the current run, the only other run for the Phillies in the last 30 years was the 2007 to 2011 Phillies. 93 was a flash in the pan, catching lightning in the bottle, as we found out in 95 when half the team got injured. And if you're a Sixer fan, you just want to get out of the second round, right? You're looking at the Sixers and be like, can you guys just get to the conference finals, please? Pretty please? We've been there once in the last 20-some years. The Eagles are the only team that has given Philly sports fans some sort of consistent anything. I mean, there were people who were they so wanted the Flyers to make the postseason because we haven't seen it in so long. And the Flyers used to be something you could look forward to in the 90s when it was Lindros and Leclerc and Desjardins and Recchi and Michael Remberg and all those guys back in the 90s. You look forward to Flyers going on postseason runs. Now the Flyers can't even get to the postseason. So part of the frustrations that whether it's the person listening on the radio or listening on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, Tom and Margate, the reason why people are frustrated is because they're tired of going on these up and down roller coaster rides. Some people just want a straight run. They want a straight shot to the finish line. And I understand, Tom, part of enjoying being a sports fan is the ride. And I'm with you, Tom and Margate. And that's why I salute you. But I also understand other people coming. It doesn't mean that I am that mentality that they have, but I understand it. All right, check back in more text messages on the other side, 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Still to come. NFL schedule is released tomorrow night. NBA playoffs continue tonight. No Phillies on today. What are you watching? Are you watching the NBA playoffs? Are you watching Caitlin Clark make her debut tonight for the Indiana Fever? Are you consuming the NHL playoffs? You know, the Bruins, they're not looking too good right now, right? They're not looking too good in their series. That's another big-time Eastern Conference contender that people thought was going to be something. By the way, you know, NHL postseason viewership is up. I believe it was the stat I saw was 18.5% across the board. And last year's postseason viewership was up 20%. So you're up 38% over what it was before ESPN and TNT got the NHL. But yet, I got to tell you guys, I know almost nobody who's watched any of it. Who are all these people watching playoff hockey? Because I feel like I don't know any of them. Everyone that I talk to is watching the NBA playoffs, or they're watching baseball, or they're turning on their Netflix, or they're not watching the hockey playoffs. So I would love to know who these people are who watch the hockey playoffs, because if the viewership is up 18% over last year and it's up 20% over the year before, which means it's up almost 40% to what it was before all the last couple of years. Who are the people who are coming out of hibernation to watch hockey? Because I like playoff hockey. Look, I was literally at a establishment a couple of weeks ago, and I literally asked them when the Phillies game was in the rain delay, and when I forget what basketball game was done, but I said, hey, do you mind putting on the hockey game? Because it's game 7. Right, that's right. Because I was at the establishment, they aired the Kentucky Derby with the audio on. And when the Derby was done and the Phillies game was still in the rain delay, I remember turning to the bartender and I asked her, I said, do you mind putting on the hockey? I even told her what channel it was on, because it was the Bruins Toronto game 7, right? And, you know, nothing better than game 7, right? And I was like, I want to see this. I want to see game 7. And she was more than happy to put it on. Shout out to Crossroads Bar and Grill over in Egg Harbor City. They put the game on, and I saw the Phillies game on. I had the hockey game on. I was good. But it's not like if I go out to a local establishment or a brewery or wherever I go, right? No one's coming up to me and being like, yo, let's talk about the Bruins. You know what I mean? Or the Rangers. Or no, people come up to me and talk about the Knicks and Pacers series. They want to talk about the Timberwolves and the Nuggets series. They want to talk about Dallas and OKC. So I'm just curious, is anyone out there watching the hockey playoffs? Because the Bruins could literally be kicked out of the postseason tonight, and they were supposed to be one of the Stanley Cup favorites. Vancouver and Edmonton, I mean, if Vancouver doesn't win this series, do they burn down the city again? You know, and if Edmonton doesn't win the series, do they blow that team up? And the Avalanche can be knocked out of the postseason tomorrow night by the Stars. So, I mean, am I the only one who cares? Apparently, according to the numbers, I'm not. Because if viewership is up almost 40% over what it was in 2021 and 2022, I can't be the only one who's watching any of this. So, you guys let me know what you're watching tonight. We'll get to all of that and more coming up next. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of CLC. Don't forget our Seize the Deal this week. You can go to seizethedeal.com starting this Friday at 9 a.m. for two $20 gift cards For Zio Nicola Pizza in Sea Isle City, yes, just $25. You can get not one, but two $25 gift certificates, a $50 value. But you got to be there Friday morning, 9 a.m., seasondeal.com to get that deal for Zio Nicolo in Sea Isle City. Josh Heddick hanging out with you here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Not for the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free. Speaking of Sea Isle, yes, thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small.
Can't wake up without it.
Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
Your luxury BMW experience is closer than you think. Take advantage of exceptional savings at BMW of Atlantic City. Stop in and shop your favorite models, including the new BMW 2 Series, X3, and more. We're sure to have a vehicle that fits your needs. And with Acceleride, purchase your vehicle online and we'll deliver it directly to you. Looking to trade? We'll pay top dollar for your current vehicle. Experience luxury today at BMW of Atlantic City, closer than you think, in Egg Harbor Township. Shop our complete inventory online at bmwatlanticcity.com.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey Verizon customers, want the best in-home Wi-Fi? X marks the spot. Get Xfinity Gig Speed Internet for the lowest price ever, with unlimited data included, so you can stream, shop, chat, game, and work on all your devices, all at the same time. Now through June 24th, new customers can get Xfinity Gig Internet for only $30 a month for 12 months, with no annual contract, when you add one line of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited. For savings more than $800 over Verizon in your first year, X marks the spot. Switch to fast, reliable Xfinity Internet and bring on the good stuff. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Compares promotional pricing for Xfinity Gig Internet and one Xfinity Mobile Unlimited line versus Verizon Fios Gig Internet and one Welcome Plan line. After promo, regular rates apply. Gig Wi-Fi requires Xfinity Gateway. Actual speeds vary. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Reduced speeds up to 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds may vary.
Broken bricks, falling fences, damaged doors, Gorilla Glue. Of course. It's incredibly strong and 100% waterproof and bonds, well, virtually everything. While you're at it, look for Gorilla Tape, a heavy-duty double-thick duct tape, and Gorilla Super Glue, great for all your quick fixes and repairs. There's also Gorilla Epoxy, Gorilla Wood Glue, Gorilla Construction Adhesive, of course. You get it. If you can break it, Gorilla can fix it. For the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you ready for your next adventure? As of yesterday, today, tomorrow, and years to come, Hitch RV is here to stay. As a family-owned and operated business since 2008, we understand the importance of family trips and hitting the open road in comfort and style. Experience no-pressure shopping with our unbeatable deals on a wide range of RVs. Shop all the top RV brands and come find your perfect RV today at Hitch RV. Visit us online at hitchrv.com. Discover the open road with Hitch RV.
You give and you give. It's time to get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a Samsung Galaxy A14 included with the activation of a Silver Unlimited plan. So you can give your janky phone to your kid. Yeah!
Switch to Straight Talk. Find us at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com. Requires in-store activation. Device offer ends 6/9/24. Taxes and fees apply.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
If you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trademan can get you released. MattBlattNissan.com. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Powered by the all-new BetParks New Jersey Casino and Sportsbook app. BetParks.com. This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
The Phils get their 30th win of the year. I'm Nick Earnshaw with your South Jersey Sports Center. The Phillies win 2 straight in New York, and today's victory was thanks to 9 shutout innings from Aaron Nola. Nola only gave up 4 hits in his 4th career complete game shutout. The Phillies won by a final score of 4-0 and will return home tomorrow for 2 more against the Mets. Former 76ers guard J.J. Redick and former Sixers assistant coach Sam Cassell are 2 of the 3 leading targets for the Los Angeles Lakers head coaching job, according to The Athletic. Redick retired from the NBA after 2021, and Sam Cassell is currently with the Boston Celtics coaching staff in the midst of the NBA playoffs. For more Eagles, Sixers, Phillies, and Flyers, download our free mobile app. Your forecast is next.
New Jersey voters, there are 3 ways to vote in the primary election. Vote in person on Election Day, Tuesday, June 4th. Vote early in person starting Wednesday, May 29th. Or apply for, complete, and return a mail-in ballot. Details at vote.nj.gov.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Spotty showers will be in South Jersey's neighborhood tonight. We'll see a comfortable low temperature around 58 degrees, and the chance of rain will continue tomorrow. There could be a period of steady to heavy rain for a little while. It'll be overcast and cooler for your Wednesday, high 65. Still lots of clouds on Thursday, and lingering showers are possible, especially right along the coast, high of 64. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card good for use at Zion Mikamo Pizza in Sea Isle City for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
SeizeTheDeal.com. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
We'll check back at text board in just a bit. Jeff in Ocean City. Also, Joey D. and Ventnor chiming in at 609-403-0973. Before I get to those texts, I want to hit on really quick. Tomorrow night, we're going to find out what the schedule is. And while I'm not going to sit here and predict the entire schedule like Mike Gilldale on the Sports Bash today, I will say this. I think there are two, I don't want to say guarantees, but there are 2 thoughts that I think they're a sure thing, right? I can almost guarantee this is going to happen with the schedule, all right? Because I did a little research earlier about last year's schedule, okay? Last year, the Eagles had 6 primetime games. They ended up with 3 on Monday night because the Seahawks game was flexed into Monday Night Football. They ended up with 2 on Sunday night and then the Vikings on Thursday Night Football. So they ended up with 6 primetime games. They also had only 3 1 p.m. games last year. So I think there are 2 things. There are 2 aspects of the schedule I feel comfortable telling you guys. Number one, there will be more than 3 1 p.m. games this year. And the reason why is because look at who's on their schedule for this year. The Eagles' schedule has a lot of teams in the Eastern time zone. Remember, the divisions that they are scheduled to play are the AFC North. They're going to play all 4 of those teams. So that's already 4 games that are not Mountain Time or West Coast time. Unlike last year when you played the entire NFC West. Also, you play the entire NFC South. Also, no teams in the Mountain West or Pacific time zones. Your home games are against teams that are in, except for the Cowboys, East Coast time. I feel comfortable saying the Cowboys game will be either at 4:25 or Sunday Night Football, basically. Maybe Monday Night Football. We'll find out. But you know what? It might be Monday Night Football. I'm starting to think about that now because The ESPN Monday Night set is going to have Jason Kelsey, Eagles player, and Marcus Spears, Cowboys player. I can see ESPN begging for a Cowboys-Eagles game in prime time just so they can have that dynamic between those guys on the set. But then you go to the away games. Outside of the divisional opponents, Tampa, East Coast time. Baltimore, East Coast time. Bengals, East Coast time. The only time you get anywhere that we consider any other time would be New Orleans and Los Angeles. And the Rams obviously be 425, but that's obvious. I see a lot of 1 o'clock games potentially on the schedule. I think at least one of the Giant games will be 1 o'clock. Both of the Washington games will either be 1 o'clock or Mike Gill predicted it'll be Thursday Night Football. I think that the only other of the home games that could be a potential 425 is either the Browns or Steelers if one of those games is not one of the other primetime games. That's my other promise. I think there's going to be at least 2 Monday night games. They are going to milk this Jason Kelsey thing for everything it's worth. They are going to get every ounce possible out of Kelsey. They're going to have 2 Eagles games on Monday night. They're going to have as many NFC East games as possible on Monday Night Football. They're going to have Jag games on Monday because of Doug Peterson. So you're going to have 2 Eagles games on Monday Night Football. You're going to have more 1 o'clock games for the Eagles than last year. Now, are you going to go from 1 to 5, 1 to 7, 1 to 6? I'm not 100% sure on that. But I feel comfortable saying that because of all the teams you have in your schedule, only one of these teams plays Pacific time, and you go to LA for that game. Cowboys are in Central time. Every other team is east of Texas. You literally only have one team on this schedule that is west of Texas. So I think that will lean into the Eagles having way more 1 o'clock games. If I put a number out there, I'm going to assume you'll get 6 1 o'clock games. You'll get 2 primetime games. I'm already at 8. You'll get 2 Sunday night games. I'm at 10. 1 Thursday night. That's 11. So then that's what? The other 6. Well, 1 game's primetime in Sao Paulo. So then you'll have 5 425 games, let's say. I think considering what happened last year with the schedule and how exasperating it was, if we get 6 1 o'clocks, 5 425s, and the rest are prime time, I think it's a lot easier for Eagle fans to digest because let's be realistic. I know a lot of you out there, you love the 1 o'clock game. Your lives have been set around your birds. I was telling somebody the other day, actually I was telling Mike Gill, when I was younger, when you would go to church, the pastor would literally have the church service set up so that you would get done church in time for you to mingle with people, head out the door. If you wanted to go to lunch with somebody, you could, or you would grab something on the way home so you would get home in time for the 1 o'clock game. Church was literally set up so you could go home and watch football. That's the world I grew up in. Whether it was whatever church I went to when I was a kid, I grew up in a world where church was always done by 12 p.m. I never went to a church. Now, maybe this is my parents' fault. I kid. But seriously, I never went to a church where church was done and you didn't get out the door until 1 o'clock. I never went to one of those churches. Every service I went to started at like 9:30, 10 a.m., 11 a.m. There was, I remember the one church it was like 9:30 Sunday school. And then there was like a parents like Bible study fellowship thing. And then you would have your traditional service from 11 to 12 or 10:30 to 11:45, whatever. Everything was always done by 12. And like, yeah, people would hang around, they'd mingle, and people would bring their potluck lunches and stuff. But everyone was out of the building by like 12:30, 12:45 at the latest. Like nobody was stuck in the building until 1 o'clock, 1:30. Ever. Because the pastor and everybody in the church was like, we got to go home and watch football on Sunday. We're not compromising that part of our weekend. So we're going to wake up earlier on Sunday to dedicate that time to church and the family and the God and everything, and then we'll get home. So for decades, whether you are religious or you're not religious, the tradition has always been that you do everything in the morning. Church, errands, gardening, whatever you got to do. You never had sports on Sunday. I don't ever remember playing sports on Sundays, except maybe a game in the morning every once in a while in like the spring. But I don't remember ever playing games on Sunday. I don't remember ever having anything that would take up my afternoon, because that's how important football was. So for people in my age demographic and for generations of us, 1 o'clock football was the tradition. And then last year, it felt like we were like, what world are we in? Like, I was so exhausted sometimes with the Eagles playing so late. It was absolutely exasperating. I got to get Danny HT's question at 609-403-0973. He says, how does church service or masses go Sundays on the West Coast work? That's a great question, Danny HT, because a 1 o'clock game on the West Coast is actually 10 a.m. So if you're in California, Oregon, Washington, if you're having a 9 or 10 o'clock service, that's going on when the 1 o'clock games are on. You're in Vegas, right? How does that work? I mean, I know that there are some denominations and entities and religious institutions that, again, I'm not trying to discriminate against anybody, but there are some people that have like earlier services than others. I'm guessing that's part of it, right? I'm assuming that on the West Coast, maybe they'll have like an 8 a.m. service so you can get out by 10 a.m. and then maybe you DVR the game so you don't miss the beginning of it. I'm spitballing, obviously. Let's get some more text in here. 609-403. Jeff in Ocean City chimes in and says, I got zero interest in WNBA tonight. He says, it's only Canada watching hockey and the Pacers in 6. Now, first of all, for those who don't know, Jeff and Ocean City both, I have a bet. I got the Knicks win the series. He got the Pacers win the series. Series is tied 2-2, Jeff. Don't catch chickens till they're hatched. All right? Don't get ahead of yourself. Knicks could win this game tonight. They go back to New York, and that prediction by yours looks pretty dumb. All right? Second of all, it can't be only hockey watching, because the ratings numbers I told you earlier are only the lower 48 states. Remember, when it comes to the television rating system, it does not include Canada. So it can't be just Canada watching, because one, there's only 2 Canadian teams left in the postseason. And 2, those rating numbers do not include Canada. Those are just United States lower 48 numbers. So it is 38 to 40% more Americans, United States people, who are turning on the television saying, I'm going to watch hockey. And the WNBA is hard, because I think that unless you are already a person who has interest in Caitlin Clark or has interest in women's basketball, I don't know how much you're going to improve the viewership. I think that Caitlin Clark is definitely going to bring a boost of interest. She's going to do a deadly boost of eyeballs. But if you're somebody who is already locked into the NBA playoffs or the NHL playoffs or watching the Phillies on a night-to-night basis, you're probably not breaking away. Clark's going to play on ESPN2 tonight and also streaming on ESPN+. How many people are really going to, if you're watching the NBA playoffs or you're watching the NHL playoffs, you're going to stop watching that game and say, I got to watch the Indiana Fever versus the Connecticut Sun? Not saying I have the answer for it, but I just have trouble believing that every Caitlin Clark game is going to be a high viewership game. I think that this entire WNBA viewership season is going to be a roller coaster ride. It is going to be high, low, high, low, high, low. It's going to be, as Tom and Margie mentioned, it's going to be like a merry-go-round. But with one of those merry-go-rounds where like the axis of the platform like floats around, where it goes like high and low and keeps spinning around. I know I'm not describing it properly. I'm sure someone who works at like a Playland in Ocean City or Maurice Pierce in Wildwood could explain what I'm talking about more. But you know those rides where like it looks almost like remember the ride with the swings, and like you would sit in them and then like they swing you around and like then they would start like tilting and you felt like you're getting closer to the ground and higher from the ground and closer to the ground, higher. I mean, that thing was terrifying. So maybe that's what I'm referring to when it comes to the WNBA TV ratings. Maybe it is terrifying. I don't know. Joey D. and Ventnor chimes in at 609-403-0973. Says, I'm watching playoff hockey. I think it's more intense than many basketball matchups. I like both NBA, and I watch hockey and basketball. Hockey is so fast-paced and wild. I'm watching. So is Joey D. and Ventnor. Joey D., my only question for you is, you got now 2 young kids at home. How are you watching in between taking care of the kids? I'm just asking. Like, hockey is one of those things where it's like you miss too much. You feel like you miss a lot. Like, you're chasing those kids around, those little boys of yours. How are you doing that? I'm just curious. It can't be easy. Andrew in Summers Point. Let's just squeeze in here before we hit the break. Actually, no, let's hit the break really quick because I got to get the break. Andrew in Summers Point, you're next. More your text on the other side. 609-403-0973 is the text board. Also, your DMs into 973 ESPN. Mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. I'm Josh Hennig, and this is Game Night on 973 ESPN.
It's Carlin versus Joe with Chris Carlin and Joe Fortenbaugh on 97.3 ESPN.
We loved him in Philadelphia. I say that because I'm a Philadelphia fan, and I was a huge fan of Jimmy Butler there. The fact that they went with Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons over Jimmy Butler is something everyone regrets. Do they regret that to the point where now they see a second opportunity and they make the mistake of saying, look, we got to correct that previous wrong?
It's Carlin versus Joe with Chris Carlin and Joe Fortenbaugh. Weekdays from noon to 2 on 97.3 ESPN. And the free mobile app.
With GMF financing, qualified buyers excludes Corvette, excludes prior sales. At Bennett Chevy, Memorial Day is too important for just one day. So we're showing military appreciation all month long. Service members and veterans get to Bennett Chevy for up to an extra $1,000 off our incredibly low prices. New Chevys at GM supplier employee prices. Plus, you keep all the rebates. While most dealers give you either a discount or some rebates, Bennett gives you the real GM supplier employee price and all the rebates, saving you up to 10% off your new Chevy. And there's available 1.9% financing. And we'll pay you an astounding $10,000 minimum for any junk box you can get onto our lot. That's $10,000 for your worst trade towards any pre-owned in stock. Imagine how much we'll pay for good trades. And our non-commissioned sales team isn't paid more when you spend more. They're not paid on how much you spend at all. They're rewarded based on your satisfaction. Together, let's drive at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Why do so many dogs suffer from weight issues, skin problems, messy poops, and low energy? It could be the popular dog food you put in their bowl each day.
Cody was sleeping a lot, wasn't playing.
She was very lethargic and not moving around.
Dry kibble just wasn't cutting it. That's why, after more than 45 years of experience of helping dogs make complete health turnarounds, veterinarian Dr. Marty created Nature's Blend. It's a freeze-dried raw dog food made with wholesome ingredients like premium meats, seeds, vegetables, and fruit. And once dog parents switch their pups to Nature's Blend, the results can be astounding.
She's got her energy back. She's running around like she she did like 5 years ago.
Miraculously, she's just feeling all around better. She's like a new dog. Thank you, Dr. Marty.
Get your dog started today and save up to 54% off Nature's Blend. Plus, receive a free pack of our best-selling beef liver dog treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511. All dogs are unique. Your dog's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When I started using Lumi acidified body wash, I was instantly in love. Fast forward a few weeks, I went to see my wax lady who I've been seeing for 2 years. She asked me what I had been doing because my skin was all one color. I was shocked at it. I started noticing it under my armpits and beyond. It was a whole body, one color situation. So everything I'm telling you is my personal experience. If you want to be one color all over, get yourself some Lumi acidified body wash. This stuff has been put to the test. It has been clinically proven to help reduce the appearance of hyperpigmentation and even out skin tone.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 25 and get 15% off your first purchase with code 25, like the Lumi Starter Pack, Acidified Body Wash, or new Lumi Plus Sweat Control. That's LUME deodorant.com, code 25 for 15% off your first purchase. Love it or return it for free. That's LUME deodorant.com, code 25 to save 15% today.
You're going to feel a puff of air.
Jong's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell our 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. Be 21. You know a spot, but not just a spot. The spot. Actually, with the 2023 Nissan Frontier, you know a bunch of them. But the key to these great spots? Being able to reach them in the first place. Your spot is out there. Find your Frontier in the 2023 Nissan Frontier with standard 310 horsepower, advanced tech, and 281 pound-feet of torque.
Drive. Hey, it's Q, Murr, and Sal from Impractical Jokers, and we are thrilled to announce our brand new Drive tour.
True TV and Practical Jokers, the Drive Tour, starring Q, Murr, and Sal. Saturday, July 13th, Ovation Hall and Ocean Casino Resort. On sale now at theoceanac.com. 16 years of age or older suggested to attend.
Drive.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennick on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
All right, before we get out of here, a buddy of mine texted me. I don't want to say his name on the radio off the air because I don't know if this will get in trouble or not, but he says, I'd rather have a root canal with no anesthesia or painkillers than watch WNBA. And that's what I'm referring to. It's not because, and I know this friend of mine, okay? It's not because he hates women, okay? Or as Asia Wilson is accusing that, it's racial, that people like Caitlin Clark so much, right? It's because there are so many sports fans, they just don't have the time or the mental energy to want to watch it. It's like the person who argues every year, the Olympics are here. And it's like, well, there's a whole world of people who don't care about the Olympics. There's a whole group of people who don't care about figure skating. They don't care about gymnastics. They don't care about with the Winter Olympics in speed skating or figure skating or bobsledding, right? Or the Summer Olympics, they just don't care about track and field, or they don't care about archery or judo, right? You can be a diehard sports fan and never in your life watch Olympic gymnastics or Olympic swimming. When Michael Phelps was the megastar of the world, right? Not every person was tuning in to watch Michael Phelps swim, but they would tune in to find out if he won or not afterward. So there's a lot of people out there who I bet not my friend here, but there are people who will be like, look, I'm not going to watch Caitlin Clark play tonight, but I'm going to tune into Sports Center or CBS Sports HQ or whatever highlight show, and I'm going to watch the highlights. All right, give you a couple more texts before we get out of here. Anonymous texter mentioned, what about Gravitron? Yeah, Gravitron, that's one of those rides. There's all those rides I remember over the years. It was like, the platform would tilt, or like the whole thing would like lean one way or another. And it would be like, it would be like if you're going on like a merry-go-round, but it's like half merry-go-round, half roller coaster. Joey D says, I got it on the TV in the background while I chase the little kids around. LOL. Very nice. Andrew Summers Point says, it's a good thing you obviously didn't go to some of the churches I've been to over the years. Don't read the actual church I went to, though, he said, because some people might be listening. Listen, man, I'll tell you right now, your church needs to remember that God loves everybody. If God loves everybody, that means that you are to be the light of the world, not the spoiler of fun of everybody. Okay? Dan EHC said, this is a life-changing conversation. Talking about football versus church. Mass or church is important, but we're talking about football. Eagles football versus church. What do people choose? That's from Dan in EHT. Oh my goodness. It's so true. It's so true. Brian in EHT will be our final texter who gets in for the day. Brian EHT says, I think we really need to appreciate this stretch of Phillies baseball. Once you get a taste of fall baseball, it's hard not to have it. These last few Phillies seasons have got me through some really tough falls at work. The excitement, anticipation, and living and dying with every pitch keeps stockpiling the spring wins so we can dominate in the fall. That's from Brian and EHT. Well, Brian's got me fired up now. Brian and EHT's got me ready for some fall baseball, and that's how we get through the summer, man. Good stuff from everybody out there. Appreciate everybody texting in on the text board. All right, coming up tonight, NBA playoffs on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 10 o'clock for Timberwolves versus Nuggets. I'll be back tomorrow at 6 o'clock on Game Night following Mike Gill and the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN.
You have the choice, whether it's going out to dinner or ordering takeout at a local restaurant or buying that new outfit from a local boutique. Those choices help to put money back into your community. Town Square Media South Jersey proudly puts a spotlight on local businesses.
Pick-a-Lily Inn. Visit them on Facebook or at pickaalily.com for their pick specials. Nobody beats the Pick-a-Lily. Route 206 in Chemung. Storybook Land. Create your own story at Storybook Land. Manhattan Bagel. Looking for a quick snack or a full meal? Easy to use menu. Customize how you'd like. Place your order and sit back. ManhattanBagel.com has you covered. Start fresh, fast, order online for pickup and delivery. Apex East Roofing. Get a price on your roof in 30 seconds at ApexEastRoofing.com. And Dennisville Fence. When you want experience, go for the best. Fences, railings, outdoor shower enclosures, and more. Request a quote at DennisvilleFence.com.
Thank you for supporting your local businesses from Town Square Media, South Jersey.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
With GMF Finance and qualified buyers excludes Corvette, excludes prior sales. At Bennett Chevy, Memorial Day is too important for just one day. So we're showing military appreciation all month long. Service members